Willpower is akin to potential energy, stored and ready to be released. It transforms into kinetic energy when expressed through actions like speech, behavior, prayer, or visualization. This is much like a reservoir, where willpower acts as the stored energy waiting to flow. When water cascades down from a height to drive a generator's turbines or flows out through a spillway, it transforms into kinetic energy. The magnitude of this energy is proportional to the reservoir's capacity and the height difference that creates hydraulic pressure. Everyone possesses willpower, but its strength varies. Some have strong and resilient willpower, while others have weak willpower. The strength of willpower depends on one's consciousness. The more ordered and lucid one's consciousness, the stronger the willpower. Conversely, chaotic and confused consciousness results in weaker willpower. For instance, the desire to reach the celestial islands continent of the Elysium world is merely E. The unwavering determination to get there, no matter the circumstances, is G. Sustaining this resolute mental state constitutes willpower. However, the persistence of this willpower depends on its strength. If our consciousness comprehensively understands the mysteries of the universe, time, space, and life, and if we have a profound recognition of life's value and meaning, then our consciousness is ordered and clear. This clarity allows us to discern what to do and what not to do, what to think and what to avoid thinking. In such a state, our willpower to reach the celestial islands continent becomes unyielding. Regardless of the obstacles or hardships we encounter, our resolve remains steadfast. This is the hallmark of resilient willpower. In contrast, if we lack understanding of the universe, time, space, life, or the principles of life's evolution, our consciousness will inevitably be chaotic and disordered. We lose sight of life's value and purpose, unable to determine what we should think or do. In this state, we are like a headless fly, aimlessly stumbling through life, achieving little. Thus, our consciousness becomes bewildered, and our willpower to reach the celestial islands continent is weak. While we might sustain our willpower under favorable conditions, any disruption or hardship can cause it to collapse or even collapse entirely. Consider Life Changyuan as an example. Some Changyuan celestials have, since joining, consistently maintained their aspiration to reach the celestial islands continent. Regardless of changes within Life Changyuan or external attacks, they remain steadfast. This demonstrates their resilient willpower, akin to a vast reservoir of abundant energy. Their consciousness is ordered and lucid, making their willpower unshakable by any force. Even in the face of an atomic explosion beside them, they would remain calm and resolute. Conversely, other Changyuan celestials, instead of contemplating the mysteries of time, space, and life or reflecting on life's value and purpose, spend their time observing, testing, gauging trends, seeking supernatural powers and mystical arts, or showcasing their abilities. As a result, when they encounter setbacks or challenges, they abandon their original aspirations. Some go further, using any opportunity to slander Life Changyuan to justify their departure. They seek validation by rallying others to criticize it, believing that the more people attack Life Changyuan, the more correct they appear. In truth, this behavior is driven by vanity and reflects weak willpower. Willpower is a form of energy, potential energy. However, this energy remains intangible until it is acted upon, transforming into tangible kinetic energy. The strength of willpower depends on the order and clarity of consciousness. Willpower itself is not a structure and cannot alter structures. A peony flower remains a peony no matter how much water or fertilizer it gets. Its structure doesn't change. Similarly, a person's life structure isn't altered by the strength of their willpower alone. Only a transformation in consciousness can alter the non-material structure of life. Willpower is essential for transformation and reaching our goals. Like a ship, no matter how advanced, it cannot leave the harbor without propulsion. Willpower is the force that drives us through challenges toward our destination. 恨会毁灭自己. Hatred will destroy oneself. Dayform Buddha. October 10, 2006. First, let me declare that I am selfish. I lack virtue and care only about how I can ascend to the heavenly kingdom. Everything else is governed and arranged by the Tao, and I have no interest in concerning myself with it. Because I am selfish, I strive to accumulate merits and treasures in the heavenly kingdom. By doing so, I can enjoy the ultimate bliss of life in heaven. establishing the era of life genuine for humanity, inspiring people to revere the greatest creator, life and nature, and walking in the way of the greatest creator will earn me the creator's favor. Nature will nurture me, and all life will care for me. This is life's greatest transaction, exchanging a finite existence for infinite life and unparalleled returns. Such a deal is not one I would ever pass up. Because I am selfish, I honor my parents, care for my siblings, raise my children conscientiously, and repay all debts. I strive to live a life without regrets so I can transcend the human world and no longer reincarnate. All debts must be repaid, whether they are owed to nature, parents, children, spouses, friends, neighbors, or strangers. As long as debts remain unpaid in the human world, I cannot ascend to the heavenly kingdom and will be forced to reincarnate to repay them. Because I am selfish, I aim to burn as brightly as I can. Even if I must eat dry grass, I wish to produce milk. Even if I must drink dirty water, I aspire to exude the fragrance of wine. This is not for the sake of others but to ensure my own inner peace. By doing so, regardless of my circumstances, my heart remains calm, free from fear and anxiety. Because I am selfish, I avoid harming animals or destroying their habitats. To harm them is to sow the seeds of disaster. Benefiting at their expense creates a debt. I do not wish to owe animals and risk being reborn into their realm to repay that debt. Because I am selfish, I seek to collect the gems of the human world, the Chanyuan celestials. They are treasures, and I wish to bring them to the heavenly kingdom. With their presence, my life environment becomes beautiful, and I can enjoy boundless joy. Do not think I serve others. Everything I do is ultimately for my own benefit. Because I am selfish, I no longer harbor hatred toward anyone. One day, while standing before a mirror, I noticed that when I was happy, my reflection appeared beautiful. When I was filled with hatred, however, the reflection became ugly and repulsive. Celestials in the heavenly kingdom are all beautiful. If I am ugly, there will be no place for me in heaven. Outward ugliness mirrors inner flaws, reflecting the non-material imperfections of one's life structure. Therefore, I resolutely reject hatred. If my life is filled with hardships, if I am deceived or bullied, it is not the fault of others but the result of my life trajectory, my destiny. I do not seek revenge, bear grudges, or blame others. This is not out of consideration for others but to preserve the perfection of my own life structure. To harbor hatred is to destroy oneself. Because I am selfish, I choose to love others. Love is inexhaustible. It does not create debts. Rather, it makes others indebted to me. Debts owed to me must eventually be repaid. While I strive not to owe anyone, I aim to have others owe me. In doing so, my life space expands and grows more beautiful. The more lives owe me, the more glorious and harmonious my existence becomes. The wisdom of the greatest creator lies here. All life in the universe is indebted to him, and thus all follow him alone. Because I am selfish, I no longer form bonds with worldly mortals. The suffering of worldly people is endless, and connecting with them means inheriting their boundless pain. Life is fleeting, so I choose to associate with sages and form connections with bodhisattvas, angels, celestials, and Buddhas. When they ascend to the heavenly kingdom, our bonds will guide me there as well. Because I am selfish, I work diligently. Why? Because life is impermanent, and its final station can arrive at any moment. By preparing everything in advance, I can step into my next life journey without regret, avoiding the sorrow of looking back and turning into a pillar of salt, tormented by regret for millennia. I do not blame anyone for harming me, wasting my youth, or causing me to endure hardships. If life was bitter, it was my own doing and I deserved it. I never claim to do anything for others, not for your good. No, everything I do is for myself. I love you but not for your sake, it is for mine. I help you but not for your sake, it is for me. I dedicate myself to you but not for your sake, it is to fulfill my own purpose. Do not call me noble. Do not praise me for being selfless or contributing to humanity. Do not claim that I have sacrificed for my nation, ethnicity, society, family, or others. I have not and I will not. Everything I do is for myself because I am selfish. 莫把真情当粪土. Do not treat true feelings as dirt. 街坊. I have traveled through 36 dimensional spaces, explored 20 parallel worlds, and discovered a profound truth. The more a place cherishes true feelings, the closer it is to heaven. The more devoid of compassion and integrity, the nearer it is to hell. Where true feelings abound, harmony and blessings prevail. Where true feelings are absent, suffering is unbearable. When people abandon true feelings, they forfeit heaven. When people regard true feelings as dirt, they become demons and monsters. True feelings are priceless treasures of the heavenly kingdom. Without true feelings, what are you? Flowers exude fragrance because they have feelings. Humans shine with brilliance because they have feelings. Gods and Buddhas save sentient beings because they have feelings. Demons, devoid of feelings, spread disaster. People, when you abandon true feelings, you make it nearly impossible to enter heaven. The gates of heaven will never open for the heartless. Are you cultivating the path? What exactly are you cultivating? Who brews the bitter wine of life? Who causes conflicts and disputes? Who sows the seeds of suffering? Who turns away from the greatest creator? It is those who are devoid of compassion and loyalty. Without true feelings, what remains? What remains is calculation and the weighing of benefits. What remains is indifference and deceit. What remains is selfishness and greed. What remains is an ugly soul. What warms the human heart is not wisdom, but true feelings. What brings joy and delight is not knowledge, but true feelings. If a master lacks compassion, he brings not blessings but the call of demons. If a practitioner lacks compassion, he cannot become a celestial but will instead become a spawn of devils. False emotions and sweet words, these are the tricks of demons. Cold-hearted betrayals and cunning schemes, these are the deeds of monsters. If God were devoid of compassion, he would not be God. If Buddha were devoid of compassion, he would not be Buddha. If an angel lacked compassion, they would not be an angel. If a bodhisattva lacked compassion, they would not be a bodhisattva. Lively and vibrant beings are those with feelings. Dull and lifeless beings are those without feelings. If you study Buddhism but lack compassion, you are studying demonic ways. If you aspire to immortality but lack compassion, you are walking the path of ghosts. No matter how many extraordinary beings appear in the world, they must first move others with compassion. Heartless teachings are poisonous broths that lead to hell. A heart devoid of compassion is like the venom of a snake. Even if Jesus returns, he will shower true feelings upon the world. Even if Maitreya descends, he will warm hearts with true feelings. True feelings surpass wisdom and extraordinary powers. True feelings surpass fame and all teachings. When people treat true feelings as dirt, no matter what path you follow, no matter what supreme saint of the universe you encounter, you have already gone astray. You have already turned your back on the greatest creator. Your future will be shrouded in darkness. 现身说法化人生 Sharing life's wisdom through personal experience. Jiefeng. August 21, 2007. Life presents us with 84,000 paths, each leading to unique experiences and perspectives. While everyone strives to live their best life, the ways we live and the feelings we experience vary greatly. Life itself is a complex topic. Regardless, everyone hopes and works to live a life that is wealthier, freer, healthier, more exciting and meaningful. A life full of joy, promise, and potential. Only those who deeply contemplate life and diligently strive for a better existence can truly understand its essence. They come to realize that the teachings of Jesus and Buddha are invaluable treasures, and they gain profound insights into the wisdom of the sages throughout history. Thanks to the grace of the greatest creator and the teachings of Jesus Christ and Buddha Sakyamuni, my life has entered a miraculous realm. Nowadays, I live like a celestial being. I don't worry about food, clothing, shelter, or transportation. I have no anxieties about life's many concerns. My body is healthy, my mind serene, and my heart filled with joy. I live in an environment of perennial beauty, surrounded by blooming flowers and chirping birds. My life is free from worldly distractions and pressures. I sleep and wake as I please. Every day feels like a weekend, every moment like a holiday. At my age, few can achieve this state of life and being. This blissful life didn't appear out of nowhere. It is the result of divine enlightenment, the guidance of Christ and Buddha, and my own diligent efforts. In other words, it is the outcome of adhering to a correct view of life and life. I often reflect on my childhood friends, classmates, siblings, colleagues, and acquaintances. Comparing our paths, I find that I live the happiest life. This difference stems from the distinct life paths we chose, guided by our differing outlooks on life and values. For instance, I loved studying and reading from a young age. Exaggeratedly speaking, there wasn't a single day I didn't read. I believed in the saying, "In books there is a house of gold. In books there are beauties like jade." Meanwhile, many childhood friends preferred playing or farming over reading. Initially, we all stood at the same starting line, but over time our paths diverged. When they realized how far behind they had fallen, it was too late to catch up. Whenever I visit my hometown and meet old friends, their feelings of inferiority become evident. To them, I seem extraordinary. My siblings also hold me in high regard, treating me more like an esteemed guest than a family member. I often inquire about my middle school classmates' lives. Of the nearly 50 students in my class, over half have left the countryside to find jobs, earning government salaries. Yet, when I compare my life to theirs, I do not envy any of them. On the contrary, they envy my lifestyle, and I can sense their relative self-consciousness when we meet. To them, I am not just an ordinary person. Comparing myself to my technical school, college, and university classmates, few, if any, have surpassed me. While they focus solely on immediate gains, I looked ahead to 5 or 10 years down the line. For example, even before my child was born, I was already planning for his education in the United States, a foresight my peers could hardly match. Take one close friend from middle school as an example. When choosing schools, I aimed for the one farthest from home, while he opted for the nearest. As a result, I went from Gansu to Zhangjiakou, while he attended a local teacher training school. 30 years later, I am still energetic and thriving, while he appears much older and worn. My colleagues, too, rarely compare to me. Most are content with the status quo, hesitant to step outside their comfort zones. They cling to the security of stable jobs, and cannot fathom leaving to explore new opportunities. When I decided to leave my job and venture out on my own, they cautioned me. What if you lose your income? What if you have no house? What if you get sick? What if you have nowhere to turn? Today, the problems they worried about are all resolved for me, while they are now grappling with their own what-ifs. My friends are doing well, with the best 6 being department heads. They have solved problems like housing, cars, wives, children, parents, and money better than those around them, earning the respect of their peers. However, they are cogs in a machine while I am the machine itself. I make all my decisions based on my own will, whereas they can only be good cogs in the machine. This is the difference in our mindsets. They still work the 8 to 5 grind while I do what I want when I want. My friends in business are now wealthier than I am. For the past 5 or 6 years, I have been accumulating spiritual and soul wealth, while they have been accumulating material wealth, making it hard for me to compare with them materially. Nevertheless, they will never surpass me in life's ultimate meaning. During a recent gathering after my trip back home, I noticed their overwhelming frustrations despite their immense wealth. Each of them is a multimillionaire, yet they remain troubled, worrying incessantly about business losses, currency devaluation, audits, and disputes with unions over employee issues. One of the wealthiest among them, who owns several enterprises and employs hundreds of workers, lamented, "I've earned enough money to last multiple lifetimes, yet I must keep hustling every day. What else can I do?" His busyness made me feel pity for him. When people are trapped in the pursuit of money, their minds are consumed by considerations of profit and loss. They dismiss spiritual or soul matters as baseless, focusing solely on money as the most tangible and practical means to solve problems. However, no matter how much wealth one accumulates, becoming a slave to money emits a sense of decay. Among the 16 people who went abroad with me, none live as freely and carefreely as I do. I always plan ahead, adapting and improvising when necessary. The old saying goes, preparedness ensures success, while lack of it leads to failure. Life requires foresight, which can be simply understood as having ideals and aspirations. For instance, I began preparing for my move abroad long before it happened. I studied English and resolved to stay permanently from the second day of my arrival. When my contract ended 2 years later, I had seamlessly settled abroad. Others, lacking a clear plan, were at the mercy of fate. Once I set my sights on a goal, I pursue it with unwavering determination. I abandon anything that might hold me back, even if it means giving up titles, records, achievements, jobs, houses, money, and connections. I let myself start from zero. As long as there's a watermelon ahead, I won't waste time picking up sesame seeds along the way. My approach has proven effective. At the slightest dissatisfaction, I walk away. This is my principle. At one workplace, interpersonal conflicts and petty disputes consumed everyone's energy. I thought, this place is not worth staying in. None of this belongs to me anyway. So I left without hesitation. As the saying goes, there is no shortage of green grass under the heavens. Why force myself to get along with incompatible people? If it's enjoyable, we interact. If not, I move on. This attitude toward people, situations, and environments has enabled me to live a life akin to that of a celestial being today. Taiji Celestial has also benefited from my life philosophy. He now enjoys a carefree life, having moved from Shenyang to Rizhao and then to Kunming. Isn't that freedom? One key insight is about ownership. The more you own, the more you are burdened. I avoid ownership because it becomes a tether. I've moved houses almost every year, enjoying the fresh excitement each new environment brings. Owning a house, on the other hand, would tie me down. The more one possesses, the more troubles they have. This is my realization. If any man disagrees, try marrying 10 wives. Or any woman, try marrying 10 husbands. Or any couple, try having 20 children. Or any business owner, try expanding from 1 company to 10 companies. Or try buying 10 large TVs to place in your home, or even 10 large beds if you like. The desire to own reflects a lack of confidence. Ironically, the more you own, the more troubled you become, draining life's precious vitality. A better approach is to own nothing yet have access to everything. That's the essence of a fulfilling life. In the writings of Chen Kuan Celestial, the concept of transforming consciousness is discussed, which is a great treasure for life. People must continuously transform their consciousness. To understand it in a simple way, imagine yourself standing in a certain environment. Looking straight ahead, you see one scenery. Then, turning to your right, you see a different scenery. Turning around to look behind you, the scenery changes again. This is the essence of transforming consciousness. For instance, if a person or environment makes you uncomfortable, don't fixate on it, move on. When one door closes, others open, but only if you stop fixating on the closed one. Do not let a theory, doctrine, or worldview that makes you uncomfortable bind you. Life is short and so precious. Why should I listen to you? Why should I go against my own will and personality to follow your rules? I will live in a way that brings me happiness and joy. Why should I abide by your teachings? Why should I let you block the information I need or deprive me of another possible path in life? My life is mine to decide. I am the most remarkable person. Why should I bow down to anyone? If your temper and personality clash with mine, why should I entangle myself with you? Of course, this requires unconventional thinking. You need to cultivate your own mental strength. When the power of your own thinking surpasses that of a theory or doctrine, you will no longer be bound by it. Traditional ideas are also a kind of mental force, restricting everyone's thoughts and actions. However, if you dare to disdain them, they will lose their grip on you. I've said enough for now, time to stop. 实话实说话人生一 Speaking honestly about life, part 1 being praised feels so good. Deiform Buddha. When I was about 5 or 6 years old, my grandmother, parents, and the adults around me often praised me, saying, "This kid has a bright future." From that moment, a subconscious aspiration to have a bright future was born within me. If I was destined for greatness, then I had to stand out from others. Even at a young age, I tried to show the demeanor of a philosopher. When playing with my peers, I was often the one in charge. I wasn't afraid of what others feared, dared to do what others wouldn't, and once I made a decision, no one could change it. In terms of academics, I naturally aimed to be at the top. From a private preschool to elementary school, middle school, technical school, college, and university, I wasn't the best in every subject, but I was almost always among the top students in my class. After all, I had a bright future. At the private school I attended, there were more than 60 students. The school focused on literacy, so some classmates were more than 10 years older than me. Yet, I held the position of class monitor. During elementary school, which coincided with the Cultural Revolution, Every school formed its own Red Guards company. Naturally, the highest position, company commander, was mine. Other students carried long spears or bayonets, but I carried a pistol. Whenever there was a chance to stand out, whether it was shouting slogans or giving speeches, it was always me in the spotlight. In middle school, however, my reputation took a hit when a secret romance of mine was exposed, earning me some infamy. For a few years, I had to let others take the position of class monitor, but I still often served as vice monitor. When I entered technical school, college, and university, where my peers and teachers were unaware of my past, I easily reclaimed the throne of class monitor, as I was, after all, destined for greatness. The phoenix in the sky. When I was in the 4th grade, my homeroom teacher, Teacher Yang, once pointed to me in front of nearly 60 classmates and said, "He's a phoenix in the sky." Then, pointing to the rest of the class, she said, "You are all hens on the ground." My joy and pride soared. From that moment on, I secretly regarded myself as a phoenix in the sky. Since I was destined for greatness and was a phoenix in the sky, I felt I needed to behave more maturely than others. But how could I show maturity? That's right, by falling in love. By the 5th grade, I was already 12 years old, practically an adult, and it was time to think about getting a wife. There was a girl in my class named Yang Xiulan, who had transferred from the big city of Lanzhou. She was lively, cheerful, and beautiful, the most stunning girl in the class. As a phoenix in the sky, it seemed only natural that the most beautiful classmate should belong to me. Everything originates in the mind, and all phenomena are created by consciousness. With her in my heart, my attitude and behavior toward her naturally changed. I can't recall exactly how we dated back then. I swear to Chairman Mao, I never kissed her or held her hand. I only remember the affair causing quite a stir, becoming a hot topic of gossip wherever I went. Even my parents found out. My father scrutinized me a few times but didn't punish me harshly, while my kind-hearted mother didn't scold me much either. I vividly remember confidently telling her, "You don't need to worry about me finding a wife." As it turned out, I really didn't let my parents worry about that. Chasing the heavenly fairy. In middle school, when Xiulan's parents disapproved of me marrying their precious daughter, I quickly moved on. After all, I had to keep my word to my parents. Soon, I set my sights on another classmate who was later nicknamed the 7th Fairy. She was breathtakingly beautiful, like a goddess. A match between a heavenly fairy and a phoenix seemed like destiny, and so I pursued her. This pursuit lasted 10 years. Those 10 years became some of the most cherished memories of my life. Struggles of a phoenix in the fields. After graduating high school in 1975 at the age of 18, I returned to the countryside to farm. The feeling of being destined for greatness and being a phoenix in the sky tormented me. Had I lost my future? Was I no longer a phoenix? I couldn't be like everyone else. Otherwise, I'd have disappointed my family, teachers, and those who had praised me. I visited a Xinhua bookstore in Linxia City and bought several books on radio technology, determined to research it and build my own radio. But I soon realized this great plan was impractical. I couldn't afford the components. Desperate times called for desperate measures. Note that desperate here isn't just about poverty. I decided to switch to something more feasible, becoming a doctor. I bought several medical books, especially on traditional Chinese medicine, and began studying 8 principles of diagnosis, pathogenesis, 24 pulses, and pharmacology. Just as I was preparing to test my skills, the senior secretary of the village came to me and said, "You're not an ordinary young man. How about becoming the secretary of the Youth League branch and the village's clerk?" A not ordinary young man. Beautiful. I was destined for greatness, a phoenix in the sky, and not an ordinary young man. Some say, a lie repeated 1,000 times becomes the truth. Since everyone said so, I began to believe I wasn't ordinary. Even my wife, who cherished me like a treasure, often praised me, saying I was a real man. She would imply that I was a man of great fortune, almost someone who never needed to lift a finger. Honestly, she worried I might elope someday, so she treated me with extraordinary care. My children also flattered me, exclaiming, "Dad is amazing." Along the way, colleagues and acquaintances showered me with endless praise. Today in Life Achanuan, both male and female celestials praise me daily, making me feel once again like a phoenix in the sky. This is how confidence grows. Ambitions swell. Factory director or company manager. Not interested. Provincial governor or minister. Boring. Sometimes I wonder, what if I became a national president? But after some thought, it doesn't seem worth striving for. If I were to aim for anything, it would be to become the president of the world, unifying all under one faith. A touch of madness? Perhaps I've lost my mind? Hold on, even being the president of the world no longer appeals to me. The green mountains endure, but life is fleeting. What's worth pursuing in this ephemeral existence? If I must seek something, it should be supreme enlightenment. I must first understand my origins and destiny. I cannot drift through life in ignorance, unsure of what to do when death comes tomorrow. I must be someone, because I'm not an ordinary young man. I'm a phoenix in the sky, and phoenixes don't belong on the ground, they should soar in the heavens. To be continued. 实话实说话人生2，赞美使人完美，挑剔使人残缺。Speaking honestly about life, Part 2 Praise perfects, criticism diminishes. Deform Buddha. I was raised and have grown up amidst praise. If I had power, wealth, beauty, or influence, I might need to exercise some caution. However, I am an ordinary citizen, a commoner from a humble background. Naturally, I lack confidence and carry a heavy sense of inferiority. Without the warmth of praise and the nurturing rain of encouragement, I might have withered long ago. I am a staunch believer and practitioner of the Pygmalion effect. This well-known psychological concept suggests that if people around someone regard them as a great person, they are likely to become one. Conversely, if people label someone as a scoundrel, that individual may come to embody that role. I taught middle school for 5 years, and both students and their parents liked me because I often praised my students. They particularly enjoyed my English classes. One year, my class achieved top results in a citywide English exam, surpassing dozens of other schools and excelling far beyond our district's average. This earned me a third-class merit award, a testament to the power of praise. I employed the same approach with my brothers. I lavished praise on my 2 older brothers, and in turn they doted on me, never letting me do any hard labor at home. They took care of all the heavy work. With my 3 younger brothers, I also found every opportunity to praise them. They treated me like royalty, happily taking care of small tasks like pouring tea or serving meals. Between the heavy lifting my older brothers did, and the lighter chores handled by my younger brothers, I lived a carefree and harmonious life. From childhood to adulthood, I never had arguments, fights, or disputes with my 5 brothers. How blessed and free my life has been. My wife has a saying, "My husband's only talent is making me happy." Over 2 decades of sweet talking have given her some resistance to it. Simple flattery no longer works, so I've laid it out plainly. Even if you resent me, please humor me. As long as you keep me happy every day will feel like a good one for me. If you make me happy for a lifetime, I'll be eternally grateful. The same applies